Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Cassandra's Garden. I have missed you all so much. I know that I've added extra videos, like, when I walk my daughter's dog or just little quick videos like that. But I just feel like when I'm doing recipes, I really connect with you guys and girls. How are all of you doing? Are you getting ready for the beautiful season of fall? It's so many people's favorite time of the year, and I can't blame you. It's so cozy, and I love the traditional seasonal dishes that you make, and of course the famous pumpkin spice latte. I mean, who can go wrong with that, right? So I love anything pumpkin, and pumpkin is one of the most healthiest foods on the planet. It's full of beta carotene, which gives it its beautiful deep orange color, and it's so good for you. So today I'm going to show you all how to make this amazing, delicious pumpkin spice cake. Give me 1 second. I'm just bringing my book over here with me because I want to make sure that even though I prepare my videos ahead of time with measurements, I always like to make sure that I'm giving you the correct measurements. This is a pumpkin spice cake that I came across and it is a very old recipe, but it is the best pumpkin spice cake I have ever tasted in my life. And I had to share it with all of you. This pumpkin spice cake also has a delicious cream cheese frosting that I will also be showing you how to make. So let's get started. You're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour that I have right here. Oops, excuse me. And I have double sifted it. You're going to need 1 cup of cake flour that I have double sifted. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, a half a teaspoon, let me make sure that I'm telling you correctly, a half a teaspoon of ground allspice. Well, this is a half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. So this particular spice right here is a half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a half a teaspoon of allspice, a half a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 whole cup of light brown sugar, and this is the brown sugar that I make myself. And if you would like to know how to make your own brown sugar so that you're not imprisoned to the high prices, especially around the seasonal holidays, you can make your own brown sugar. It's on my YouTube right here at Cassandra's Garden. It's so simple to make, but this is the brown sugar that I make, and it's 1 cup. Then you're going to need 1 1/3 cup of granulated white sugar. You're going to also need 3/4 cup of softened butter, and this is the butter that I make myself. You're also going to need where's the buttermilk? 1.5 cups of buttermilk. We haven't got that far yet. And you're also going to need a 15 ounce of pumpkin puree. So if you get a large quantity of pumpkin puree, God bless you, you're amazing. So just get you a scale and weigh out 15 ounces. Okay, so let's get started. Now there's more to this, so we're going to just do it in parts because I don't have a lot of room here and I'm a one-woman show. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to beat the butter and the sugars together. So there's our 3/4 cup of butter, and then our 1 cup of brown sugar that I make myself. And please, if you want to know how to make your own brown sugar, it's on my YouTube channel right here at Cassandra's Garden. It will save you a ton of money. And honestly, it tastes a whole lot better. Now, I've got to get the eggs out of the refrigerator. So while this is beaten, just bear with me just a few moments, okay? So we're going to beat these together until light and creamy. Okay, perfect. All right, we've got our sugars and our butter really good and incorporated. So now we're going to add our eggs. And you're going to need 3 eggs. So we're going to add these one at a time while this still incorporates. So there's 1 egg, 2 eggs, and 3. These spices smell so good, y'all. My kitchen smells so good. I really wish you could just be here with me. Let me know in the comments how you've been doing. I would love to hear what you're doing for All Hallows Eve, the season. Okay, so now we're going to add our vanilla. And remember, that's 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we're going to add all the spices. So we're going to add the cinnamon. That was 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We're going to add our, let me make sure, our 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, our 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, our 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Oh, and I also have the recipe to make your own pumpkin pie spice, or also known as pumpkin spice. That's also on my YouTube. It'll save you a fortune. A 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, ground ginger. So there's all the spices that we've added. Oh, except for the salt. Forgot about the salt, which we add that to the flour. So bear with me on that one. Let me move that over here for easy cleanup. I tried to keep everything clean. This is the salt and the baking powder. We're not going to add that just yet. That way I can just put everything in the dishwasher just really neat, no muss, no fuss. So together we're going to add our 2 flours, our all-purpose flour and our cake flour. We're going to add our 1 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and our 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Getting everything out of the way because I'm working with a small space here. Now we're also going to need buttermilk, and we need 1 1/2 cups of buttermilk, and this is the buttermilk that I make. I'm just going to grab a bowl so that I can measure out my buttermilk. And because we're going to add this alternately to our mixture, there is 1 cup, 1/4, and 1/2. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Y'all still with me? Yes. Great. Okay. Perfect. Now we're going to add our pumpkin puree. Bear with me one moment. We're going to add, and this is 15 ounces. So if you get pumpkin puree in bulk, all you have to do is just get a kitchen scale and put it on your ounce weight and just measure out 15 ounces. I'm going to tell y'all, the first time I ever made this cake, I know my eyes were as big as plates because it's the best cake I've ever ate in my life. It's such an old-fashioned, delicious cake. And I tweaked it just a little bit to make it my own. Added few or less of, but this recipe is so delicious, I'm telling you. Okay, so we've added everything. Perfect. Now we need to whisk our dry ingredients together. This is our 2 cups of all-purpose flour, our 1 cup of cake flour, our 1 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and our 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So we've just kind of whisked those together. Now we're going to alternate our flour mixture and our buttermilk mixture into this delicious, I can smell the spices before me, and the vanilla and the pumpkin, and it's really making me hungry. I cannot wait. My granddaughter, she's having school right now, and she said, Grandma, I cannot wait until that cake is done so that I can eat some for after school snack. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a spoon, and I'm going to just add a little bit of my flour mixture. Perfect. Then I'm going to add a little bit of my buttermilk. It's 1.5 cups of buttermilk. And we're just going to alternate. Keep in mind when you're doing it this way, just try your best not to let your spoon hit your mixer while it's mixing, because it could jerk and cause a mess. And you don't want to get hurt either. So just be careful when you're doing that. There's like I said, we're just going to keep alternating the flour mixture and the buttermilk into our pureed spice mixture until all is dispersed and you're left with basically nothing. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Let me get this out of the way. I'll be right back. Now, I have already greased. Let me put my buttermilk up. I have already greased a cake pan. As you can see, it's a big old baking dish. And I've used my easy release cake release. This is the best cake release ever. You can also use it when you're baking biscuits or any other type of baked goods. I have the recipe and the precise ingredients, the precise measurements, and the instructions. It's also on here on my YouTube page. Look it up. You will not be disappointed. Now, well, I'll make sure it always does me that way. I'm just going to grab a spatula, and I'm just going to scrape down the sides. And then I'm just going to give it a quick mix, and then we'll be almost done. Now, we're going to also preheat our oven to 275 degrees Fahrenheit, which you will bake this cake for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, you're going to increase the heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake an additional 18 minutes. So the instructions are: you pour into a greased pan, you bake at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. Once the 25 minutes has been completed, you will increase the heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for an additional 18 minutes. This is really good and incorporated. So let's just get the ball rolling, shall we? It's okay if a little flour falls in. It's not going to hurt anything. Let me show you guys and gals what I'm doing. I'm going to have to leave that here because I'm going to bring you back for part 2. I'm going to show you how to make the cream cheese frosting. It is absolutely divine. So now we're just going to pour our mixture. Let me get my handy dandy spatula. I want y'all to be able to see what I'm doing. So, but I always seem to get my arm in the way. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. Y'all can at least see a little bit what I'm doing. I'm just scraping this down to the bare bones, getting it as clean as possible because I don't want to waste any of this wonderful, delicious cake batter. This is the best pumpkin spice cake you will ever eat in your life. If you try this recipe, I promise you, you're going to be the belle of the ball. I'm just going to incorporate that. That's not going to hurt a thing. Just a little flour foliage. Okay, so I've already preheated my oven. And I'm going to put this in the oven at precisely 275 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. I will still double check. If it's done, hey, it's done. If I'm sure that it won't be, because I've baked this cake so many times. And then I will increase the heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit after the 25 minutes for an additional 18 minutes. So I will be back. And blessings, love, and light. This is part 1 of the pumpkin spice cake. It's absolutely divine. You're going to love it if you follow these instructions and this recipe with the ingredients and the precise measurements. You're not going to fail. I'm telling you, you're not going to fail. It's delicious. You will need a pretty large baking dish. As you can see, it makes quite a bit. Okay, I will be back for part 2. I'm going to show you guys and gals how to make the cream cheese frosted. And then in part 3, we're going to frost in the cake, and we're going to cut it, and we're going to have a piece. I'll be back. Love y'all.